just do an introduction. All right. Alright, hi everyone. Okay, this is actually Teacher Jason over here. So let me just do an introduction. Alright, this is Teacher Jason from Sec Math, and you are over here for a Sec 4E Math lesson. So I hope you guys do coping well, enjoying well, because in fact what happens is I'm also trying my best to adapt to this new style. But I hope you do like it. And yes, it is actually going 4 seconds to the lesson for today. So what happens? Let me appear out in the bottom corner and we shall get started, shall we? Okay, so what is today's lesson? Again, just some general pointers to take note. Just be patient and understanding. Observe gracious and respectful behavior even in digital space. And lastly, please ask good and relevant questions. And hi Isabel, I hope you're doing well, doing good. And yes, what are we doing today? So I hope you have attempted the mock paper that was sent to you in the GeniusAsk platform. If not, do not worry about it. This section will actually be gone through to how the questions in the mock paper will actually be what will actually be phrased and how do we answer them. So along the way, as you have heard as well, this few bubble questions will actually assist in your thought process and as well as see how we answer these questions. Alright, so let's get it started. But before that, let's have a few recap. In this case, first type of question, set notation, and we shall do a little recaps over here. So for the first one, if you see this particular alphabet over here, it looks like an E, but we pronounce it as C. So we call this the universal set. Okay, universal set. And lastly, going to the next one, it looks like an E, inverted E over here. Sorry for that. Okay, inverted E over here. This one, we call it the is an element of. Okay, so this is saying that it is an element of. Okay, which we'll see in a question later. Whereas if I have with a dash over there, so quite some recaps over here, this is saying that it is not an element of. Okay, and after that, what happens if we actually remove the dash in the center? We call this a proper subset. But what happens if sometimes the sets are equal? We don't call them proper subsets, we call them the subset. However, certain manners, subsets, in this case, the set may contain nothing. So in this case, there are two names for it. Okay, one we call it the empty set, or the other one we call it the null set. Following up the certain notations, U over here represents union, and over here represents my intersection. Okay, and take note, intersect, union, intersect. And let's say if I have a set and I have this colon, not colon, I have this comma down there at the top corner of the alphabet. Okay, this is meant to say that it is a complement of set A. And lastly, if I have to have an N over there, I say this is the number of elements in set A. Alright, just saying that how many things are there in this particular set. So this is the number of elements in set A. So that's the notion down here and the different set notations that you have to take note of. Alright. So from here, what happens? Knowing this set notation, let's have a little recap over here by a form of a bubble question. Alright, so I have these particular notions, all these sets introduced, and I want to answer this. Okay, so this bubble question is meant to be 30 seconds long, okay, because in fact, this is something that we have went through at the start of this particular year. Even, in fact, last year, December, if you attend my lesson on sets. And yeah, it's just listing the elements. So let's see how we answer. Launching the bubble launcher in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. All right, it should be answered quite quickly. So let's see the responses that we have over here. All right, very nice. Take note, I want the elements of D, okay? Elements of D, take note, okay? What is D? D is an even number, and following this notion here. Okay, so I have 10 seconds more. Okay, counting 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, time's up. Let me take a look. Okay, most of you all got it right, but some of you all actually forgot something. So let's take a look. D over here, what is it? It is an even number and 0 to 20. So what is an even number? An even number means I can divide the number by 2. So in fact, number 4 is correct. Some of you all miss out 0. Some of you all miss out the number 20. Take note over here is equal notation. I can divide 0 by 2. I can divide 20 by 2. So take note, last two numbers are actually divisible by 2. So take note over here, alright? So that's one important thing to take note. Okay, now following up nicely, we move on to the mock paper question number 2. Alright, for those who have attempted, the mock paper is actually mock paper question number 2. But let's see how we actually answer it, alright? So what happens? Okay, so we have these sets and they ask you to fill in the blank with these symbols over here. So there's equal, not equal, subset, proper subset, subset, element of, or not an element of. So how do we describe this relationship over here? So first things first, we list down the elements over here. A we know is this. Okay, let's list down the elements first. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And we know D. What is D over here? Let me write down the elements. We answered from bubble question 1. So let me just write everything down. So I'm going to have 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And we carry on all the way to 20. Alright, so just give me a while to write everything down all the way to 20. So looking at these two sets over here, okay, let me just list down in terms of numbers. Suppose this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, 5, 6. Which one should be filled in this blank? Okay, write your responses. Which one should be filled in this blank? Before I give you all the answer proper for those who have not attempted the mock paper. Alright, let me just see. Alright, very good. In fact, that is the one over here. Good job, Pranav. Anybody else wants to try? Okay, let me just wait a while more to see how's the crowd here. Anybody else wants to try over here? Let's take a look. Is it going to be a 5? Take note, are these two sets equal? Can we say these two sets are equal? Okay, so over here we have to be very specific, but you are getting the symbol correct. Okay, let me see. Yes, take note, are these two sets are equal? No, but over here we are talking about sets. Elizabeth, A is not an element. So over here, if you look at 5, this is saying that is an element of. Over here, we're talking about two different sets. And the set itself contains a lot of elements. So therefore, when we talk about this notation down here, we cannot really use it because it is in the form of sets. A is a set, D is a set. So 5 and 6 are actually ruled out in this aspect. So let's take a look over here. In fact, if we were to take a close look, all the elements over here, all the elements of A are, in this case, elements of D, are also elements of D, are also elements of D. And let's take a look. Do they contain the same number of elements? Yes or no? Okay, take a close look. I mean, it's quite straightforward, right? D has more elements, so let's take note over here. Both sets do not contain the same number of elements. Okay, let's take a close look and we take note both sets do not. Okay, so just some keywords for you to take note. Very good, Elizabeth. Both sets do not contain the same number of elements. So therefore, when we actually fill in this, it is actually a proper subset. Thing to take note, it is a proper subset. So therefore, we say A is a proper subset of D. A is a proper subset of D, and we fill in this symbol over here. Okay, so proper subset is the one without the equal sign. Subset is the one with the equal sign. So that's one thing you have to take note over here. Very, very important. Okay. Any queries that I have over here? Okay, if there's no queries, what happens? Okay, let's move on to the next one. Again, list. Now, over here, we are listing the elements of E. Same question over here. Let's list the elements down. You have 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. This should be rather quick. Alright, so take note. I want the elements of E. So which one is my answer? Okay, I'm getting good response down here. I'm just listing the elements of E. So which one am I referring to? What is E? Take note, I have a lot of things over here. I'm looking at this one. Alright. Okay, elements of E. Okay, let's take note. Some of you are falling into the trap. Okay, I have 1 second. Okay, let's see. Okay, not too bad. Most of you actually got it, but some of you actually answered the other option. Take note. E. What is E representing? A factor of 6. So what are my different factors of 6? My factors of 6 are represented as 1, 2, 3, 6. So in fact, if you look at it, answer is number 1. 0 is not a factor of 6 because 0 times anything always gives me 0. You are not going to get 6. So that is why this is not correct for those who have answered this option. The other two, no one answered, so that's good. But then again, take note of the mistakes and we grow from there. Alright, so along the way, just remember, as I'm explaining, try to listen to the explanation as I'm explaining, and more or less you are able to follow through well. Okay, so this is for bubble question 2. And what are the different kind of questions that we have? B and E. So let's list down. So B is this set, and we have just answered from the previous bubble question E. That is going to be this one as well. 1, 2, 3, 6. So over here, what happens? What will be the symbol? Very good, Chen Zheng. This is exactly where you fill in. Which one over here? Very good, Pranav. Oh, you remember my numbering. Okay, so let me remember my numbering as well. Which is the particular number over here that I fill over here before I actually answer for you. So B and E. Okay, some of you got it right. And take note in this case, what is the notion? All the elements in B, or the elements of B, are actually elements of E. So we take note over here, all the elements in B are elements of E. And if I were to switch it around, it's also the same thing. Alright, very good question, Elizabeth. I'll actually answer that for you. Okay, and vice versa. And vice versa. Okay, so in this case, to answer Elizabeth's question, what is the difference between proper subsets and subset? Proper subset means, in this case, the number of elements are different. Number of elements are different. So in this case, what happens? We can answer it both ways. Okay, we can say that B is a proper subset of E and E is also a proper subset of C. But since both of them contain the same number of elements, we say that they are equal sets. So therefore, we say set E and B and E are equal sets. So to talk about, in this case, proper subsets, the number of elements have to be different. Okay, the number of elements have to be different. But in this case, they contain the same number of sets. So therefore, we can say that they are proper. They are subsets, not proper subsets. Proper subsets, the elements have to be different. But in this case, they are equal sets as the number of elements are the same. Okay, because, let's still have the reasoning, because the number of elements in B is equals to the number of elements in E. So therefore, the sets are the same. Okay, to fill in better, what happens if you're only given these two symbols over here? We will fill this. But to take it properly, equal sign is actually more accurate to say. So therefore, we represent it in this way. Given the notion that if I were to only be introduced these two, I will choose this one. But because all 6 of them are introduced, so the most accurate one will be the one that I've just ticked over here. Alright, does this make sense over here, Elizabeth? Alright, let's move on. Glad you understand. Now, moving on to the next few questions. How do we fill in this? For C, again, let me list down the number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So for number C, question C, which is the particular thing that I should fill in? No problem, alright. So, part C, which is the notation that I should fill in? Okay, very nice, Shen Zheng. That's actually correct. For the rest, who wants to try? Junrong, are you sure it's that one? Take note. This is an element. So which one should I fill in, Junrong? Okay, for number 3, we refer it to be using for sets. This is a subset. Is it not equals to? Take note, over here, when we talk about equal and not equals to, we're always referring to sets, Pranav. Okay, we're always referring to sets. So let's write down. 5 over here, it's an element in the set. This is an element in the set. Very nice, Denise. In fact, that's the proper notion over here. Thank you, Denise. So what happens? 5, it's an element in the set. So you realize when we talk about elements, okay, we always refer to this or this. The rest of it is usually refers to sets, whether two sets are equal, not equal to each other, whether they are subsets or proper subsets. That's why I explained from 1, 2, 3, 4 respectively. So over here, because 5 over here is just a number, so that's why we mentioned over here 5, it's an element of set C. Okay, it's an element of set C. Alright, so therefore, because it's an element, I use operation number 5. What about D? D, Denise has answered already, but because take note, right now I have this notation over here. Very nice. That's where you use the notation for 3. Good job, Pranav. Anybody else wants to try? Part D. How do we identify this? Is this an element or set? Before we answer this properly, is this an element or set? Yeah, very good, Pranav. It's actually that notion. Very good, Elizabeth. Very good, Jude. Yes, so because of the brackets, very good, Pranav. Very good, Jude. So what happens? We know it. Very good, Jude. Very good, Pranav. Good answer here. Because it's a set because of the curly brackets here. And in fact, because this is the only element involved as compared to this, okay, they are not equal. They are not equal. So what happens? This is a proper subset. Proper subset of C. So therefore, this is a proper subset of C. So therefore, C, the answer is this. D, it's the proper subset notion. Very good, Elizabeth. Glad that you're all listening well. Good job over here. Okay, now what happens is, again, more type of sets question, what they can ask. Okay, again, such thing as such. So given an element, remember, this is the universal set. So whatever this whole thing can represent, it's only over here. Any other alphabets, H, I, J, K, or M, N, cannot. X is over here, Y is over here. So draw it where it represents. Now let's have some recap over here before we draw. Does anybody recall what does this represent over here? Before we go on to draw first, alright, very important. This region is very important. Very good, Denise. Pranav is not the union. Take note, very good, Elizabeth. Okay, some of you get confused. Alright, when we talk about union or intersection, very important. This represents actually, if you realize, if I were to draw the circle, if I were to actually highlight it and then draw the circle, this part over here actually represents what are yes, that's actually correct, Pranav. What is actually the common things that is actually held, if I were to erase this, by the red color one representing X and by the black color one representing Y. So therefore, if I were to actually draw them out in this particular manner, okay, it is actually the intersection that we need to focus on. So can anybody tell me, in this intersection, based on what we are seeing, what should be the alphabet that fills in over here? Very good, Elizabeth. Perfect job over here. Anybody else wants to try? Okay, let's think about it. Or some of you are actually clear already. In fact, this is actually just filling in. C. Very good, Jing Wong. Perfect job over here. Now, the rest you realize, since this is filled in already over here, let me just circle this. The rest of it you fill in as accordingly. In fact, X will just have A, B, and D. Y in this case will just have E, F, and G. And of course, anything that is not within X and Y, we fill in outside. But in this case, that is all for the set. So that is the answer for the Venn diagram below. And what are the type of questions they can ask? Bubble question number 3. So look at this Venn diagram very carefully. 30 seconds, what is the intersection? In fact, I have given you the answer just now for those who have been listening so far. Launching the mobile launcher in 3, 2, 1. In fact, I don't even need 30 seconds. 5 seconds is enough for all of you. Yes, I have just given the answer just now for those who have actually listened to my work example. Okay, but for the rest, give it a try. Alright, you still have about 18 seconds to figure this out. Okay, let me just drink some water. Don't worry. Okay, it's gonna be weird. Last 7 seconds. Alright, 3, 2, 1. Perfect job down here. Good job, everyone. Good job. Awesome job down here. I don't think I need further explanation. It's just C because it's just this particular region down here, which you have answered perfectly well. Okay? It's just this region down here. Okay, perfect job, good job down here. Now let's follow up a little bit more and let's answer this question. Following up, now, how do we find the what does this notation mean? N of x intersection y, if you recall, is just a number of elements. So, what is the answer? How many elements do I have? So this one is quite straightforward. Very good, Elizabeth. Perfect job down here because of the notion of x intersect y. This is just none other than C. How many elements do I have? 1. So number of elements of x intersect y is just 1. So that's the notation and notion that you need to take note of when we actually go through this question. Now next up, another bubble question to test your concept. Just now was intersection, now is this particular symbol. What does it mean? Okay, 30 seconds again, look through it, launching the bubble launcher, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Very nice, take note, I am looking for the union. Union means what? Take note, what is the meaning of union? Some of you are falling into a trap, in fact, between two options, that's good. That's good over here. Okay, 10 more seconds. Look at the question carefully and the options at the top. Alright, last 3, 2, 1. Okay, most of you got it right, but let's take a close look again. Now, if I take a look at union, it means what? Either X or Y or both. So if I were to do the shading, it in fact actually just represents everything down here. Everything down here. Right, let me just do some massive shading down here, alright? So in fact, it is actually the whole set. For this case, it may not necessarily always be the whole set, depending on how I define my universal set. So the answer is actually number 1. So this one over here. Okay, some of you actually miss out this one over here because we consider the intersection when we do the union. So just take note over here, alright? Now, following up again. What is... Okay, very good question Pranav asked. Where, in this case, the C is not included. So, that's a very good question. Let me give you an example now. In fact, this particular question actually shows you, or in fact, no, okay, sorry, not this mock paper question, but let me give an example. If I were to consider this set, do I include my C? So there are many different examples. In this case, I will not include because I'm talking about, what does this represent? This represents the complement of the intersection, which means I don't include C. So that's one case. Okay, there are a lot of cases, but in this one particular case, I cannot include C. So in fact, there are many combinations where I don't include it, and this is just one example where I just take sort of like the complement in this way. I hope I answered your question enough. I hope I have answered your question, Pranav. Okay. Any other queries? Okay, that's right. Okay, so let's follow up. Now, take note, given this set, I want to now ask myself, what is the... Sorry, this is not the one. What is the complement of this set? Now, so what is the complement of this particular set? Okay, let's have a hint over here before we answer. What do you mean by C? Take note very carefully. What is the complement? So remember when we answer our bubble question, Chen Zheng, what is the union? Union is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So what is the complement? Very good, Pranav. That's actually the answer. Anybody else wants to try? Yep. Are you sure? Take note. Very good, Elizabeth. Chen Zheng, are you very sure? Again, take note. I'm looking at the union. Union is this one. I'm looking at the opposite. Very good, Jin Rong. Is in fact my... Very good, Denise. Most of you got it. My now set. Because I'm looking at the union, the opposite of the union. So whatever is the union, I'm taking the outside right now. So therefore, in this case, it will be the now set. Alright, do you get this now, Chen Zheng? You understand why your answer is not correct in this case? Yeah, if it's still not clear, there's a Q&A session later. Feel free to clarify from there, alright? Feel free to clarify with me. Alright, and in fact, that's all for this particular type of questions for your sets for this mid-year mock paper. So I hope this actually clarifies a little bit more. That understands, oh, you haven't learned this topic yet? This should actually be covered already. Wait, are you NA in this case? Oh, okay. Okay, understand. So you're actually, okay, understand what you mean. Okay, so what happens, okay, I hope this is clear. If it's still not clear, what happens is, okay, just let me know. During the Q&A, if anything you need to clarify, just let me know. Alright? Okay, is it okay? Okay, good to clarify and let me know so that I can understand your profile better. Okay, now following up next, we are moving on to probability. So probability, let's recap a few simple ones. So suppose what happens, I have an event and there are n equally likely outcomes. And if suppose I have k of them that favors a particular event, okay, it's just going to be, I have k of them. I want to find out how this can happen over n of them. So it's k over n. Alright, so this is just the notion of probability that we have. Now next up, what happens with these events? I have a few types of events that can happen. So there are going to be, if there are no overlaps, I say there are mutually exclusive events. In this case, it is not possible for there to be an intersection happening. So there's no common things that can happen. Example, let's say I want to have two events. One of them is odd numbers. Second one, it's multiples of 2. There are no common things between odd numbers and multiples of 2. Henceforth, what happens is they are mutually exclusive. And next up also, you can either win a game and lose a game. There is no common thing that's happening down here. You can win or lose. So again, they are mutually exclusive. So these are two examples, and in fact, there are more as well. Now, of course, mutually exclusive is just one event. Let's recap another event. If the result of one event does not affect the another event. So in fact, I say they are independent. Okay, so again, this means, okay, one event A, it does not affect another event. So some examples, let's say if I roll 2 fair die. So suppose I roll the first die, I get 6. Is this particular probability going to affect the other die? No, right? So that's why, again, it's independent. Next one, tossing 3 fair coins. Again, tossing the first coin will not affect my second coin. Okay? And lastly, drawing a card from a deck. Again, you realize if I draw a card, won't it reduce my probability? But take note, suppose I take that card and I replace it with a particular replacement. Same card with replacement. Then this is independent. Alright, and Denise asked a very interesting question which I'll answer. What's the difference between fair die and die? Now, there are also cases whereby, you know, a fair die, we know it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But let's say the manufacturer has a defect and he creates a die that is 1, 2, 2, 3, 5, 6. So in a way, maybe the other die over here that I'm referring to is not possible to roll a 4, and the probability of rolling a 2 is higher than the rest. So I hope this better understands the notion of fair die and die over here. And of course, no problem, Denise. I'm glad you understand. Following up, because of these special events, you have my different laws. These laws will only work on special cases, mutually exclusive. I will then add the events. Independent events. Okay, if they are independent, I multiply them. Why the formulas are like that? You can refer to the different recordings at the start of the academic year for our Genie book site, which is actually December. So in the December lessons, in fact, I went through why they are mutually exclusive and independent, why the formulas are as such. Alright, so you can refer to them if you are not clear. Okay, so what happens is this, from here we can actually come up with a particular kind of question that is actually for probability, which is this one. So in fact, if you actually attempt the mock paper, this is actually for mock paper question 1. So what happens is this, when you actually view this and you realize, oh, there are actually two different events over here. Bag A containing this amount of pink marbles and 2 blue marbles. Bag B contains 1 pink marble and 3 blue marbles. So look at the events first, okay? Very confusing, but let's take note. I draw it from bag A, and crucial over here, I place it into bag B. Then from there, what happens? I draw from random at bag B. Okay, so find the probability that the marble drawn from the bag B is blue. Okay, now if you take a look at this, okay, what will be the first instinct in your mind what will be the first instinct that comes to your mind? In fact, what do you think you should do first? Okay, what is 1? What do you mean by 1, Pranav? I mean, what do you mean by 1? I didn't number anything here, so it's not the sets notation over here. So what do you think you should draw out, or what do you think will help you to solve these type of questions, whereby there are two events? Blue from A, yup, that is sort of correct. But to talk about the thought process that we have over here, Denise, what is this particular diagram that will help you? In fact, whenever you all have this kind of probability diagrams, if possible, and they are not independent of each other, you can't derive that because it's drawn from A placed into B, so they affect each other. Yep, that's right. In fact, let's refresh for everyone. It is going to be the tree diagram, okay? We call the tree diagram over here. Now, what happens is how this tree diagram is going to help in this case will be as such. Sorry for the tongue twister. Will be as such. Okay, now, how do we draw this tree diagram? Firstly, when we draw a tree diagram, let's take note, there has to be two events. First event down here, second event down here. Yes, correct. You don't have to understand independent events to draw this, because first things first, are the events independent of each other in this context? You look at it. I draw from bag A, I put into bag B. So do the events affect each other? Okay, do the events affect each other, Denise? They do, right? So since they affect each other, the notion of independent events don't come into play, and henceforth we can just draw the tree diagram. In this case, what should be the event here? What should be the event over here? In fact, there are only two events, draw from bag A, bag B. So this event over here, which one should be the event that I put over here? Look at the question carefully and look carefully. What is the event? Very good, Pranav. For the rest, what do you think? What is the event? Very good. Okay, first draw, but draw from where? There's no first draw, second draw. It's two different bags, Denise. Okay, so if you realize, I draw from which bag first? Look at the question. A marble is drawn from bag A and placed into bag B. Yes, that's right, Denise. I think you got it already. First event here, because I draw from bag A. Good job, Elizabeth and Denise, for understanding. Bag A should come first, and then I place into bag B before I draw from bag B. So in this case, it's easier to draw a tree diagram because you can visualize. Okay, so first, bag A. What are the type of events I have? Pink and blue. So remember the events type, I will write it out and draw outside the branch. And over here, that's where I put the probability. So what's the probability of drawing a pink marble? 4/6. And the other one should be 2/6. Alright, it should add up to 1. Okay, the branches over here, take note guys, it should add up to 1. Now bag B is the very confusing one. As such, again, it should flow up, and again, it should only be pink, blue, pink, blue. So I'll give you some time to read about it, and let's see what will be the probability that I were to put for this branch? For the red color branch. This one is a little bit harder. It's a little bit harder. So not all questions are as such. Because what happens is, this is a tree diagram. Tree diagram, there are a lot of context to it. Yes, very good. Okay, so is it 1 over 5? Are you sure 1 over 5? Take note. If I draw a pink marble, I put that. 5 is correct, but how many pink marbles do I have now, Pranav? Because what happens is, Denise, this is a different kind of tree diagram questions, a lot of variation. So what we go through in the previous Genie class are just the ways to understand it. What are the variations? You have to read from the context. And very good, Jin Wong, that's actually correct. Because total is 5 marbles. 1 pink marble initially, I add 1 more here. So total 2. No worries, Pranav, don't worry about it. No worries, okay? Then in this case, blue marbles, what is my probability? 3, it stays the same. So therefore, 3 over 5. Now let's give it a try, alright, for the other one. How will be the probability for this particular branch? I add 1 pink from A to B. How many marbles are there in B? Don't get confused, Okay, Chen Zheng, you want to try again? It's not the number. You want to try again? Take note. How many marbles I have? Very good, Elizabeth. That's correct. Okay. For the rest, let's give it a try. Very good, Jin Wong. Very good, Pranav. Very good, Denise. What is my probability? Sorry for tongue twister. What is my probability over here for the green color branch? Okay, so that is the number of blue marbles. I want the probability. So therefore, it's going to be... let me write it in. Can you all see in this color? I hope you all can see in this color. See it clear? Okay, it looks visible. Okay, 4 over 5. Yep, that's correct. And henceforth, my pink color one is going to be 1 over 5. Okay, so that's how we answer. The hardest part is actually to fill in my numbers over here. This is the hardest part. Because once you're able to fill in the numbers, we can answer it. Find the probability that the marble drawn from bag B is blue. Now, okay, let me use alpha numbers again. Suppose this is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Which branch end product should I focus on? Based on my numbering here, which number should I focus on? Based on my numbering here. Okay, very good. Okay, that is one of the branch. Very good, Denise. Chen Zheng, there's one more you need to consider. Read the question. Find the probability that the bag drawn from bag B is blue. Drawn from bag B. Sorry for that. Don't know what is happening to me for today. It's blue. Very good, Chen Zheng. Very good, Elizabeth. I'm looking at this branch and this branch over here. So looking at these two branches, which I have just shown you, when I do my operations from these two branch, okay, in this case, blue from bag B, how should I deal with these two numbers? What do I do with these two numbers? Alright, very, very good. I think I wrote the wrong numbers, but I do get an operation. Okay, very good, Pranav. So just take note of the operations when you do this. So in fact, what happens? Probability that I draw from bag B. Very good, Denise. That's actually correct. So take a keynote. Let me just show everyone what Denise has mentioned. Alright, very good. So when we do tree diagrams, always remember what we want to do. Okay, blue from bag B. What we intend to do over here is to multiply along the branches, then we add them together. In this case, first one from bag A is pink, then blue, or I can have both blue. So the pink one is going to be, okay, 4 over 6 times 3 over 5, or in this case, 2 over 6 times my 6, sorry for that, 6 times 4 over 5. Multiply, and then we add them, and then we get the answer. You can use your calculator, don't have to mental sum this, 2 over 3. Okay, so the important notion for this question is actually to see how we utilize the tree diagram. If it's very confusing tree diagram, if you can't remember independent events tree diagram, it will be very, very helpful. So what happens? Look at the question. What do you define as the first draw? Good question, Dennis. What do you define as the first draw? First draw is from where? Is it from back A or back B? If you talk about first draw or second draw, we usually talk about it from the same back, right? A. So in this case, if you say first draw or second draw, then let me ask you, my first draw is from back A or back B? Or in this case, if let's say first draw or second draw can be from both back A, or first draw or second draw could be from both back B. So it depends. So we answer in context of the question A and B. Easier to see. So independent events, I won't say you don't need to understand. It's more of a shortcut to multiply them easier instead of drawing the whole tree diagram again. But if let's say somehow you're panic, you're forget, oh, what is independent events? Tree diagrams can help you. Or in fact, I would recommend or suggest that you try to get the notion of, if you forget the formula, it's okay, but understand the meaning behind. Independent means the events do not affect each other. So it's easier for you to utilize the formula instead of drawing the whole tree diagram. Okay, I do hope this is actually answering your question, Denise. Is this clear? Okay, so yes, so this kind of things, moral of the story, events, independent events, all these special notations, it will be good to actually understand what it means and what formulas to apply when these keywords come out. But let's say if you forget, these particular tree diagrams over here will help you a lot. Trust me, it will help you way a lot. Regardless, let's say in this case, if they are independent events, if you forgot, oh, what's my first event, second event? Tree diagrams will help you quite a bit. Okay, so that is usually one type of question that comes up for combined probability. Okay, I hope you guys got it. Any other queries, feel free to ask me in the Q&A or refer to the live recording then. Okay, right now let's move on to the next question. But before that, bubble question 5. So this is in fact another kind of a probability questions that they can ask you ahead. Okay, probability type of questions, which in fact will help you a lot. Okay, where with tree diagrams will help you a lot. But first, let's answer this. How many patrons answer an egg sandwich? Launching the bubble launcher in 3, 2, 1, 30 seconds. Let's go. So egg sandwich. I want the egg sandwich, guys. Egg sandwich. Okay, so in fact, the bubble questions you realize are not really sort of understanding the context of whether your concepts are strong or not. It's mainly to trigger your thought process when we answer the questions in the bubble launch, when we answer the questions in the mock paper. 5 more seconds. Okay, in 1. Okay. Okay, most of you got it right. That's good. So we look at the egg sandwich and we realize egg sandwich is follow this column. Do not get confused. For some of you all may get confused because you all sort of read the wrong numbers. So therefore, egg sandwich, add them up, 51. That is the notion. Don't take my word for it, but usually when you have the tree diagram done, it is already a good notion to answer most of the questions. But if you want to answer them quickly to know the notion of independent events, it will be good. The bad thing for tree diagrams is if you realize you can't use a tree diagrams for mutually exclusive. You cannot draw a tree diagram for mutually exclusive events. Okay, so moving on to the next bubble question. Over here, how many patrons purchase drinks? Okay, again, launching the bubble launcher is just reading correctly. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Okay, so you realize certain questions like this, right? It's hard to see for probability whether we need to know some formulas or not. More like understanding them because they may be able to ask questions whereby they want you to show that the events are independent. And that's why you need to know the formula. Alright, so in a way ahead, wow, okay, you guys got it down. Okay, I guess I can, never mind, I'll just let the timer run and go through the question. So with drinks, you realize I'm just looking at row wise. So this is the one. Row wise, and henceforth this is the answer over here. Alright, doing a good job over here. Let me see. Oh, sorry, 6, sorry. Oh, my mistake. My mistake. I have ticked the wrong option. Sorry for that. My fault is 66. 36 plus 30, 66. Okay, now let's move on to the type of questions that can come up for that can come up for this type of questions, which is over here. So find one of these patrons are selected at random. So find the probability again that he purchased an egg sandwich. So this one is not really say a kind of a tree diagram question, but we just want to select. So let's take note how many people select egg sandwich. We went through just now in a few bubble questions that there are 51. So 30 plus 21. So how do we write it? Probability, this one very simple. I mean straightforward. I won't say simple, okay, because it may not as be simple as it thinks, but let's just write it out. Egg sandwich. Bubble question number 8, we know it's 51 because 30 plus 21. Okay, over, take note, I'm selecting the patron, so that's where I sum everything up. Okay, it's not 20, sorry for that, it's 36 plus 30 plus 12 plus 21. So that's where I have 17 over 38. So you want to realize the two bubble questions help you to actually answer them. Very good, Elizabeth, to get to the answer. Now for part 2, what will be the probability? In fact, we have answered it already, of the drink. Okay, this is equals to drink. We have answered already. Come, let's see who can answer this faster than how I write down the probability. In fact, denominator is just going to be summing them up. 36 plus 30 plus 12 plus 21. I'm selecting purchase a drink. So therefore, if you refer, it's just 36 plus 30. This is then equals to 2 over 3. Right? 2 over 3. That's the notion over here that we have. Alright, so I hope this is a bit clear for everyone. 17 over 33. Yes, 33. That is correct. I have mistaken. I don't know why I add wrongly. Thank you for the note, Elizabeth. Thank you so much. Yep, it should be 37 over 23. Yep, that's right. That's right. Sorry for that. It's 33. Alright, I might have done my simplifications wrongly. Thank you for the note, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. This is 33. Alright, so just take note from there. Sorry, I sometimes do have my own calculation error at times, so please forgive me, but I do hope you understand how this question comes about. Yeah. Okay, now what happens is this. The other type of questions will be the kind where I highly suggest you draw a tree diagram, because there is no way that you are going to actually do this without a tree diagram. It's actually quite hard to see. It's actually quite hard. But once you realize that if you draw a tree diagram, it's actually easier to see. I mean, you can do it without a tree diagram, you can visualize, that's good, but a tree diagram will help. So how would I do this? So 2 patrons are selected at random, find the probability that both purchase drinks. So how would I do this? So what happens? Both purchase drinks, so they should be under this particular notion down here. But how would I select them? So that's where your tree diagram comes in helpful. So suppose you had a first pick, or in case first draw, that's where you draw. But you don't really draw a person, but in this context, and to standardize this, maybe we should just call it draw. So first draw over here. So suppose in this case, alright, first draw, purchase the one with drink. Second one is without drink. So with drink, what is the probability? Okay, with drink, what's the probability? Okay, if you want to recall, just sum them up. 66 over 39. Next one is 33 over 99. Now, next one, second choice does, or in this case, second draw. Okay, it's not really say very ideal to draw a person. It's not very nice, and in fact, it's very rude if you were to just pick the person up. Okay, but what happens? Okay, with drink, what is the probability that I have over here? Does anybody want to try with drink? What is my probability for with drink? Anybody else want to give it a shot? With drink. Yes. Yes, that's right. Because I picked the person already, it purchased drinks. I'm not going to replace the person again. Okay, it's like, let's say I pick you as the class president. Am I going to replace another you in the class? And you're going to have a clone? Doesn't really make sense, right? In this case, the question never really says with replacement in context of the question. So therefore, it's 65 over 98. And just make sure they sum to 98. The other one will be 33 over 98. Alright, let's try the last one. Okay, for with drink, for this one. Okay, let's with drink, what will be the probability over here? What will be the probability over here? for, okay, I forgot to mention which one. This one. So this branch over here. This branch. Very good. Denise, anybody else wants to try? Give it a shot. Okay. Okay, because in this case, I select without drink. Very good, Elizabeth. Anybody else wants to give it another shot before I launch the answer? Not really launch, before I write the answer. Very nice. Yes, the first person didn't buy drink. What is the second person? Yeah, and in fact, that is correct. So this is as such. So remember, when you pick the person, you have to have context. So you realize what happens if I pick without drink will decrease by 1. Total amount will definitely decrease by 1. So that's the thought process that you need to have over here. And yes, I realize I'm blocking the without drink. Okay, hopefully you all can see over here. Okay, so right now, can you all tell me, okay, back to over here, it will not really affect as such. Let me just shift it out here. With drink, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. Which branch will fulfill this particular question? Okay, sorry, let me just hide myself first. Which branch will fulfill this particular question? I will appear again, don't worry guys, I will appear again. Which branch? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Very good, Elizabeth. Anybody else wants to try? Okay, in fact, it is actually correct. Let me appear again. It's the first branch because both purchase drinks. So, first branch. And yes, it's correct, but remember, simplify Chengzheng because our answer will just be none other than if I want both to purchase drinks. Okay, both purchase drinks. Alright, and in fact, can you all take a screenshot of this particular tree? No, the screenshot won't help. Never mind, it's okay. 66 over 99 times 65 over 98. Multiply together, simplify, I get 65 over 147. Okay, so a tree diagram will definitely help when we do such questions. So, in fact, what happens? A good question that Denise asked is, if you want to draw if you are not sure of the answer, always remember, just draw the tree diagram. It will help you a lot. But in fact, certain questions might be a bit hard to draw, and this is one of them. So example, very specific. It's hard to draw such questions for tree diagram. So that's why in this case, you have to be very clear. Both purchased chicken sandwich, and in this case, only one did not purchase a drink. So what is the way? So there are a few combinations. I want both purchased chicken sandwich, and only one did not purchase a drink. So I want one did not purchase a drink. So possible combinations, think about, one is with, one is without. So how would I do this? Probability as such is both chicken sandwich. Okay, take note, let me just write it out. Okay, one with drink. Okay, one without. So recommendation, if you are able to draw a tree diagram, yes, please do draw. But you realize there are such questions. In this case, it's hard to draw. So try to decipher one with drink. So with drink is how much? 36. Total number 99. So this is with drink. Okay, with drink. With drink. And the other one is without drink. But take note, the person reduces by 1. So it's multiplied by 12 over 98. So this is without drink. So take note over here, without drink. But of course, this is not one way because I can pick it the other way around. Without drink and with drink. So switch it around. 99, sorry, is 99 because the first person, there are 99 people. Second one is 36 over 98. Simplify them, you are going to get 48 over 539. So again, certain instances whereby tree diagrams do not really help, and over here you have to decipher the context of the question. Okay, again, if it's not clear, there's a little Q&A. After that, we can answer for you. Okay, last concept for today, we are going to go through statistical data analysis, all these particular concepts here. I'll run through them because, sorry for that, we are running a little lack of time, but I'll still prompt you all along the way. Alright, so don't worry about it. Again, a few recaps over here. Value at the 50th percentile is the median. Very good, Chengzheng. Lower quartile, very nice, Chengzheng. Following up nicely. Upper quartile will be the 75th. Interquartile range, in this case, does anybody want to mention? Correct, Q third quartile, or in this case, the 75th quartile, minus, when we talk about the quartile, it's going to be relative to what quartile are we looking at? Lower quartile minus upper quartile. In fact, okay, not 75th, sorry for that. It's going to be lower quartile, upper quartile minus lower quartile, sorry for that. Upper quartile minus lower quartile. Range is the highest value minus the lowest value. Okay, so these are the things where we analyze when we talk about statistical data analysis. Alright, following up from there, what happens? My cumulative frequency curves, you realize I can divide into 4 sections. Okay, if I divide into 4 sections, the top one will be what we call the total frequency. It's very small. Let me just write it a little bit better. Total frequency. And after that, what happens? The lowest value. Okay, if I divide into 4 sections, okay, this will be my 25th percentile. Okay, and then after that, if I cut from the middle, this will be my 50th percentile. And the third one, because 4 sections, it is going to be my 75th percentile. Over here is the recap, so I'm going through a little bit fast. And after that, let's just go to it. 50th percentile, let's recall, this will be my median. Alright, will be my median. Next one, okay, 25th percentile, we call it's my lower quartile. Okay, last one, total frequency will be the highest value which you can get because it's everything. This is the highest value. And over here, 75th percentile, going down, it will be my upper quartile. Alright, upper quartile that we have. Okay, following up nicely. Lastly, sometimes a frequency curve may not be ideal to draw. So we have a box and whiskers plot to represent. So again, it is to represent my 2 extreme points, lowest value. And also next one is going to be my highest value. Cutting into half, I have my median. Cutting into the other 2 sides, I have my lower quartile and my upper quartile. Good job over there. Okay, now, last bubble question for today before I go through the steps. Over here, look at this question. What should be the first step if I want to draw the box and whiskers? 30 seconds in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Remember, what is the first step? I'm looking for the first step over here. Very nice, very good. So remember, when we do the first step, don't do anything else. Okay, box and whiskers plot. What should be the first thing that comes to your mind? Okay, last 10 seconds. That's it. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so first thing that comes into play, before you even do the calculations, make sure you rearrange the values. Very important. Because if you were to rearrange the values, if you don't rearrange the values, it might be a bit hard to visualize. Okay, so what happens is this, okay? Mock paper question with regards to this particular notion. First things first, remember, rearrange the values in order to calculate all these values over here. So let's rearrange together, and yes, so apologies for that, but I might have to exceed for 5 to 10 minutes. So for those who need to go at 1, please just go ahead. Otherwise, thank you for staying with me, and yes, I will try my best to complete it and not rush it through so that you're able to understand. Okay, so the first part is just rearranging, so let me just rearrange accordingly. So it's going to be just rearranging, so just bear with me. 49, 51, 52, and so on and so forth. 54, 58, 59, 60, 63, 65. So you may realize some of the values are actually quite easy to answer already. A, E. This is A, this is E. Alright, now C, you realize over here, it is my median. So how many values are there? 14. So I'm looking at the middle of 7 and 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm looking at the middle point between them. So therefore, this is my middle point. And C in this case will just be 51 plus 52 divided by 2. This is going to be 51.5. And henceforth, B and D will just be the median of the left and right. Left median, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Taking the middle value over here. So this is my middle value. So this is C. No, so this is B. And the other one, my middle value here is D. So just taking the middles of the middles. And henceforth, my values will be as such. Okay, so this will be 39, this will be 46, this will be 51.5, this will be 59, and this will be 65. And from here, how do we find the interquartile range and everything? Interquartile range, or in fact, let me call IQR for short, will just be, in this case, D minus B. So that's where I have 56 minus, sorry, not 56, 59 minus 46. This is 13. And next up for C, range. Range is just the difference of the extreme values that I have. So therefore, it's going to be, my range is going to be just E minus A. E minus A. So that's where I have 65 minus 39. And that is my answer of 26. Okay, so just getting to know the values that you have over here. Okay, now lastly, what happens is this. I'm going to go through for the frequency curve. So for the plants that you have over here, in this case, for example, cumulative frequency curve. So that's where you have to get used to the notion of the range and as such. Okay, so just a little while, bear with me for about 5 to 10 minutes, alright, for those who are still here, sorry for that. Okay, so now, we are calculating for the range for A. So A, you realize for the range is just going to be the highest value minus the lowest value. So what is my highest value? It has 100. So it's going to be at 35. Lowest value, it's here. So therefore, my range is going to be 35 minus 0, which is 35. Median, take note, I'm going to cut it out at the middle. So the middle in this case is 50. 100 divided by 250. And I trace it from there. So therefore, I trace it from there. And then I go down. You realize my median is going to be 15. Okay, so that's where I get 15 over here. Median is 15 cm. Interquartile range. So that's where you have to calculate what's the upper quartile, what's the lower quartile. So that's where you realize my upper quartile is going to be 75. Now that's where you realize 75 is in the middle of 70 and 80. So it's going to be here, over here. So it's roughly 20.5, I would say 20.5. So somewhere here. So it's a little bit more tracing, so don't worry, okay? So a little bit more tracing. And 25, so 25, it's somewhere here. Which in this case, it's 10. Okay, so my interquartile range will be 20.5 minus 10 is equals to 10.5. And 90%, I will trace from, in this case, 90. Let me use a green color. So 90 over here. It's going to be here, and then I trace it down. So it's going to be roughly, say, here. Okay, again, this is just looking at the axis, so just be very careful when looking at it. Understand it's a little bit small on your side. And in this case, reading the units, this will be 25.5. So therefore, this is 25.5. Okay, so over here, yep, that's right. Good job over here, Chen Zheng, doing good over here. Now, if we do for brand A, we have to do for brand B. Again, over here, brand B, let's just focus a few things. First one, range of heights. So again, brand B, take note, 100, but we are taking a look at the orange. Very good. Okay, take note, it's not 10 because I have over here, what is my value here? Is it 10? Okay, let me just trace it down first. Take note, it's not 10 because if I trace it down, it's 25, and the last value over here is 10. So in fact, it's actually 25 minus 10. Again, the extreme values equals to 15. Median height, I'm looking at the middle, so I look at 50. And then I trace it down. Again, it's a lot of tracing, guys. So just take note over here. Even I'm a little bit lost. So let me just trace it nicely over here. Yes. And then if you take a look at it, 2 units represents 1. So it's going to be 14 cm. So therefore, tracing it down, median height 100 divided by 2 is 50. So therefore, my median is 14 cm. Now, percentage over here, you have to trace it very carefully. More than 18, at least 18, shorter than 22.5 cm. So that's where you have to trace upwards in this case. So let's look at it. 18, it's somewhere around here. So 19, 18 is somewhere around here. So just be careful in terms of tracing up over here as such. Just be careful. And then realize when you trace it up, it's going to be at around 80. Okay, so be careful. And then 22.5. So it's roughly in the middle over here. So roughly in the middle over here. So let me just do some tracing. So over here, take note, in your exams, your graph paper will be given to you. Alright, so don't worry about it. The actual graph paper will be given to you. So if we were to trace it over here, this value over here actually represents 96. So what do I have to do? 96 and 80. I'm looking at the range over here. So that's why we have to do the percentages of plants. In this case is 96 minus 80 over how many percent? In this case, over 100 plants, because total 100 plants. What is the total? Very good, Elizabeth. So that's where I multiply by 100%, and that's where I get 16%. Okay, so that's how we have tackled such questions. Lastly, very important, lastly, which of them are less consistent? So when we talk about less consistent, recall, what do we look for? Consistency, don't look for the range, look for IQR. IQR previously, this one is 10.5 cm, 17 cm. Last question for everyone, which one is less consistent? Based on what values I look for is less consistent. Okay, very good. In this case, let me just take a look. Yes, very good. Denise, let's give it a try. Denise, are you sure it's brand B? Less consistent means my range is higher. So therefore, in fact, very nice. It's brand A, guys. Brand A, take note. Because what happens is, the interquartile range for brand A is higher than interquartile range of brand B. So there are more values that can vary, and henceforth the height of the plants with brand A are less consistent. And there is actually the notion of consistency. If we talk about consistent, we want the range to be smaller so that the values are actually more concentrated on that part, and it is not too very much variation in terms of the values that I have. Alright, and also you realize, look at this notion over here. If you look at the curve, my IQR, if it's not so much over here, 10.5, you realize it more consistent. Sorry, brand B is not 17. Sorry for that. It's 5. I have calculated wrongly. This is 5. If we were to calculate it again, 17 minus 2. Alright, I think we didn't calculate IQRB, so let me just do it for you all. 75, it's going to be roughly here. Sorry for that. Yes, apologies for that. It's 17. And then 25, it's going to be here. It's going to be 12. 17 minus 12, that's where I'll get 5. Right? Okay, and in fact, what happens is, sorry for the mistake over here. I just realized you all didn't calculate. So it's 17 minus 12. That's how you get 5. Okay, let me just do this for you. Okay, this is achieved by 17 minus 12. 17 minus 12. Okay, is this alright? And with that, what happens? That is actually it for today. So again, now the formative for mock paper exam should have come out already. So do give it a try. Bye-bye, Denise. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Mock paper mock paper part 2 should have come out. So do give it a try, alright? And yes, so what we have gone through today is these few particular things that we have gone through so far. Alright, so sets, probability, and statistical data analysis, the different type of questions that we have. So I hope you have enjoyed this lesson for today, or otherwise, what happens is again, stay tuned for the next few lessons to come. I'll see you again, stay safe, and until then, this is Teacher Jason signing off. Alright, take care everyone, stay safe, bye bye.